Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to our respected viewers. And thank you once again for joining me on Youth and Karbala series with me, your host, Sakina. I want to start off with a very beautiful hadith that will inspire all of us to be a part of the Husseini movement. It says that كلنا سفن النجاة إلا أن سفينة الحسين أوسع وأسرع, means that we are all arcs of salvation, except Hussein's arc is vast and faster, which means that, the route when we seek to attaining any sort of success in this life is through the arc of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, because that is the fastest way to get to it. Now, dear beautiful souls and our respected viewers, I know that sometimes many of us feel spiritually low, disconnected, and unworthy to talk to our Mawla Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Whatever fears, anxieties, and sins that we may have committed, Imam Hussein alayhi salam is actually yearning and is waiting for us to hop onto his ark of salvation and purge our hearts in his pure light of divinity. So you can see that our Imam is so loving and caring. So may we feel safety and love felt in our hearts and rise up again to face our daily storms. Through these divine days and nights, let us inspire and activate our souls and know our Imam closer. It's a very beautiful journey right now. These days it's a beautiful phase to befriend him and also to gain a more deeper understanding of the frailty of this dunya. And may we find a good ending like the way our Mola prayed for. Husnul aqibat. So this is a very important point to ponder upon, that this world is really very temporary, and we really sometimes have to think and ponder about our existence, that how much of the good deeds are we doing in this world to gain a better hereafter. There are a few couple of also majlis etiquettes that I would like to share with all of our viewers. During these ayam aza, it is very important that we keep in mind and we are very mindful about our etiquettes in the majalises, when we are going and attending these majlises in the Islamic centers, in our Hussainiyas and our Imam Bargas. In Surah Al-Mujadila, which is Surah number 58, ayat number 11, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا قيل لكم تفسحوا في المجالس فافسحوا يفسح الله لكم. That, O you who have faith, when you are told that make room in sittings, then do make room. Allah will make room for you. The verses of this surah in particular talk about many aspects of the life of a believer, including society and social relationships. Many of the rules it sets and the recommendations it gives are to cement relationships within the community, which is very important. So this helps strengthen faith and enhance well-being of the individuals through the connectedness it promotes. So, to move further up or in line with others who are already sitting, one should be very, cautious and conscious about the sort of gestures and the sort of movements and the sort of judgments that one makes. So the above verse mentions the verse that I mentioned. It mentions one of the etiquette of a majlis, a sitting or gathering of believers for a specific purpose. When we use the word fasaha, fasaha means widening or, making space. So it is also translated as amplifying. It signifies expanding the sitting area by moving appropriately. So, this helps structure the gathering such that those who enter can easily find a spot to it. Sometimes you must have noticed that when a mosque is getting too packed and, there's not enough space and maybe, some more people are coming in and, we're giving them those very weird, strange looks like, oh, you're late, and that this is, causing us such an inconvenience, right? We do that a lot. We need to be very conscious about our actions, because these are the majalises of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. And so, what does it teach us? First of all, to hold our akhlaq upright, everybody is welcome in the mosque, be it of any religion as well. You see, Imam Hussein's religion is so universal that anybody from a different Islamic sect is also welcomed within our Islamic centers, right? It should be like that. We should humbly welcome them, be it a Christian, be it a non Muslim, be it someone from a different Islamic sect. So amazingly, this small gesture of consideration for others can have a positive effect on the unity and affection within that gathering. Imam Ali alayhi salam says that welcome others with Islamic greetings. So offering greetings is one of the virtuous morals and traits, and this we find this in Ghurar al-Hikam in page number 488. Then again, we see that sit next to the last person who is sitting. The Holy Prophet ﷺ says, whenever one of you enters a gathering, sit next to the last person who is sitting. Meaning just to show some, courtesy and respect. Sometimes we are very particular about whom do we want to sit around in the mosque, right? So we need to rethink, like, why? Is it because am I getting some sort of status or fame by sitting next to this person? Give importance to each and everybody in the mosque. Wherever you find a spot, make sure to adjust yourself. And then don't sit in the pathway where others need to walk on. We often notice people sitting at the entrances and need to be reminded to move as it blocks the pathway. Move to make place for one who sits beside you. Once, when the Holy Prophet ﷺ was sitting in a masjid, someone came to sit beside him. The Prophet moved to make room for him. And he said, there is place in this room, O Prophet of God, that man said. So the Prophet asked him that, why did you move for me? The Prophet told him that it is the right of a Muslim over another Muslim that he makes place for him when he sees he wants to sit next to him. Yeah, so this is also such a beautiful parable that we can take, that how should we welcome one another. Also, respect what is said and keep it confidential. When a believer discusses something in a gathering, it becomes a trust which needs to be kept. The Holy Prophet ﷺ says that when a person talks about something and then goes away, it becomes a trust. You can find this in Nahj al-Fasaha in page 374. So it's very important that whatever conversations, are discussed between two mu'mineen, two believers, especially if they are very beneficial, then one should make sure that that trust is not, first of all, broken. And of course, if it's allowed to be if the message has to be shared publicly, then it should be for the benefit of the community, as long as that the message is not being spread in a wrong way, like, there's no misinformation that's happening. That's very, very important. And also, there's another point, that avoid anything that would be unseemly and may annoy others beside you. So the Holy Prophet ﷺ says, do not put off people by unpleasant behavior where you are sitting, and refrain from whispering or private conversations, because the Holy Prophet once again says that when someone is sitting next to you, refrain from whispering with someone else. You find this hadith in Mizan al-Hikmah. And the reward, for adhering to such etiquette is immense. In the verse that I had mentioned of Surah Al-Mujadala, that Allah will make room for you, it could refer amplification of many things. For example, increase in sustenance, broadening of thought and spirit, expansion of good things of the world, lengthening of life, larger place in heaven. So, a small action such as making room in a gathering can result in tremendous rewards. For the reward is according to the generosity of the giver and not according to the action of the doer. So let us remember this verse as we will be attending the gatherings, as we are on a daily basis, of course, attending the gatherings of Imam Hussein, and when we do throughout the year, yeah, in our upcoming majalises as well. So because this is the true way of actually being the actual Husseinis and the true followers of Imam al Hussein alayhi salam. Now, because moving on to our main topic, which is about safeguarding family values, I wanted to actually touch upon the topic that how can one safeguard family values today, and it all starts from within ourselves. As I gave you the example of how one should have good etiquettes in the mosque, this is how our children see us, and they learn from us, and tomorrow they turn out to be the best of individuals in their society. If we want to create a good society, it is very important for us as individuals to be kind and nice and to uphold the teachings of the Ma'sumin alayhim salam. So something which is very interesting that is asked by the youth today, yeah, is that when it comes to family values, we see that it's becoming very very less in our community, in our societies, and within our family structure. The family structures are decreasing as well. Why are marriages difficult today, is a very good question that is asked by several youths, and it's something which is very common. So let me tell you something. I was reading this the other day and in a book, and it was very heart touching and something very real. It said that find someone who is, first of all, sure of you. So sure that he or she will stay while you find your way into being the best version of yourself. Settle with these kind of people because they know acceptance and they choose love over imperfection and growth over past mistakes. And lastly, they love patiently. They will love you especially on your hardest days and on the days that you are being the hardest. So this is the actual reality. We when we have a lot of expectations for the other person to be absolutely perfect, but that is not what marriages are all about, because no human being is perfect and no couple is perfect. So it is very important that we accept, the couple should accept each other based even on their imperfections and help grow over their past mistakes. So you must have noticed that there has been a general decline in marriage over recent decades. But behind that general decline lies a more interesting story. Marriage is diversifying with different people trying the knot for very different reasons, but marriage is also dividing, especially along class lines. What does Prophet Muhammad say? Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, has advised us that there is no foundation that has been built in Islam more loved by Allah than marriage. So there are many contemporary challenges that young Muslims face when it comes to the issue of marriage. Today we find many youth having difficulty getting married for a variety of different reasons. In some cases, parents think that their children are too young or have not finished their degrees or are financially unable to marry, right? These are some of the examples. But what has Allah again promised? He says that marry the single people among you. If they are poor, Allah will make them rich through His favor. Unfortunately, in other cases, parents consider the person the child wants to marry unsuitable because they are from a different ethnic background. So, Sayyid al Sistani has stated that guardians are not permitted to prevent their daughters from getting married, nor are they permitted to put obstacles in their way using improper traditions not required by Allah, such as asking for exorbitant dowers, for example. The dowry that we talk about, these are such, like backward thinking. It's a backward mindset, that based on like very hi-fi demanding dowries, and the marriages are getting rejected and all of that. So for us to progress as a community, it is very important that we hold on to the divine teachings that only Prophet and the Imams have given us, especially when it relates to marriage. And that is why it is very important, if one wants to really like increase family values in their lives, this is where you start from. This is the starting point. So, it's very important that first of all, the foundation is set from the right marriages. Now, of course, marriages have a lot of reasons. People obviously want companionship in their lives with love. You want to fall in love. You want to spend the rest of your life with someone. Very true. For some people, there's still that, economic element to getting married also. It is also a signal of status, in some cultures and communities. This may be more common today than in the past, because being married is a way of signaling success and status within a society. So all these things exist. Of course, there are now a range of reasons, of course, but it is clear that the standard model of marriage, is of course, because it's the sunnah of the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, is the sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and of course it is encouraged in Islam. Anyways, today the institution of marriage, which is central to human societies, has been fundamentally transformed as well, because now we see a lot of differences in the role of the husband and the wife as well. And with the advancement of technology, with the advancement of the for example the workforce right now, there's a lot of pressure of earning, and there are lots of expenses, and the world is really drastically and dramatically changing, and so the challenges are getting really bigger. So it's a bit like the kaleidoscope has been shaken, and the patterns haven't quite settled yet. And of course, we are also seeing, unfortunately, a lot of LGBTQ marriages that are taking place right now. Some countries are promoting it. So there's a lot of things that should not happen which are happening. And if I would just go into the statistics, we see that within a couple of years of the Supreme Court decision, people saw almost 3 out of 5 lesbian and gay couples choosing to get married. And all these things, one of the other big changes has been a significant rise in the age at first marriage, up to around 30, I think. I mean, these are all some statistics that I'm just pointing about, that there are all these issues that are coming up today, especially in the West, meaning in the US side, if we are talking about. But we have to again go back and refocus and reset our mindset into what the Islam and the Ahlul Bayt tell us, that what is the actual foundation of marriage. It's to safeguard family values. If we just divert our attention, and we try to see that what is the purpose in marriage is to build a proper family, and to make them understand the actual teachings of the Ahlul Bayt and who is Allah, to bring them closer to Tawheed. That should be the actual purpose of marriage. And also when it comes to parenting, I had mentioned this even in the other series, that parenting should not be like it's a burden or something surplus which is out of our routine, but it is part of our ibadat. It is part of our lives to raise our kids. And it is very important to submit to do everything for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by following the right teachings that our imams have said. And in Karbala we see this example, don't we, of Janabe Hazrat Ali Akbar alayhi salam. And when he was a young handsome youth, and how Layla, had so many wishes in her heart to see her son get married. And we when we hear even the masaib, it is very painful, because at the end of the day, on the day of Ashura, when Janabi Hazrat Ali Akbar was martyred, and it was not like he was just martyred ordinarily, but of course it was very heart wrenching for the old father, such as Imam Hussein alayhi salam, to see his son be on the floor, lay down on the floor of Karbala in that way, strucken with an arrow in his chest. And Layla had so many dreams for this young boy to get married. And so we learn from Karbala that as a mother, as Layla, every mother has a wish that she should see her son get married, or every mother wants to see her daughter get married. And that's why the to make the right spouse decision is very important in a marriage, and also to once again safeguard family values. And we see that in Karbala. We see how the mothers had a very strong faith and iman, how they brought up their children. The upbringing was just perfect. If we see of Janabi Farwa, how she did of Janabi Qasim, Janabi Layla, how she did of Janabi Ali Akbar, and of course Rabab, the way she did of Janabi Ali Asghar. So these are some examples that we find in the event of Karbala, and we should really reflect and ponder, and we should also seek some beneficial lessons from Karbala in how we want to today upbring our children today. How should I upbring the youth today? Am I preparing them for the right path for Imam Hussein tomorrow? Are they upholding the principles of Imam Hussein over worldly gains? These are some questions that you and I need to ask. Are our youths today accepting responsibility for one's actions? Are they steadfast in the face of adversity? And last but not least, are they patient, and are they showing that active intizar for the uh, imam of their time, who is Imam al-Mahdi ajallahu ta'ala farajahu sharif. So with that, inshallah, I would like to leave you with all these questions to ponder upon, and let's see that to what extent are we really putting in our efforts to become the true Hussainis that we really want to be by attending these majalis aza on a regular basis. Thank you very much. Jazakumullah. This is your host Sakina Habib signing off. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.